This case is similar to the U.S. versus Miller case that took place in 1939. In that case, the Supreme Court had to examine the Second Amendment and interpret it to see if our founding fathers had intended for citizens to bear arms at home. Mr. Miller was a criminal who was found carrying a gun in his back seat of his car and was charged for tax evasion under the National Firearms Act of 1934. Miller took the case to court. He argued that National Firearms Act violated the Second Amendment because a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The National Firearms Act forces people to pay $200 tax when registering guns of certain types. The Supreme Court upheld National Firearms Act on the basis that the gun Mr. Miller had did not fall under a category of gun commonly used in militias. Therefore, the National Firearms Act did not apply to the gun. Specifically, the Second Amendment was not violated because there was absence of any evidence tending to show that possession or use of a shotgun having a barrel of less than 18 inches in length had some reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. We cannot say that Second Amendment guarantees the right to bear and keep such an instrument. Even though Miller lost the case, he forced the Supreme Court to define what militia meant, which the court concluded to be a body of citizens enrolled for military discipline, that ordinarily when called for service, these men were expected to appear bearing arms supplied by themselves. This suggests that citizens should have the right to bear arms, as argued in this case. In order for citizens to serve in the militia in times of need, they need to bring their own guns, which means individuals should have the right to own guns in their home at the first place.
Let's now take a closer look at statistics across the nation and the effect it has on the society. Statistics show that crimes are higher in urban areas as opposed to crimes in rural areas, so that puts the citizens in large cities at a higher risk. According to the United States Department of Justice, there are over 340,000 crimes committed in large American cities, and this as a result puts the residents in these large cities at a really high risk. We need to protect them and give them security. We feel that if we allow guns to be in the hands of the citizens, we feel that we can lower the crimes in these large cities. Many feel that with a gun at home, a lot of lives are put at risk, for example, the children and the family members. Therefore, when a gun is not in use or ready to be used for any type of self-defense, it will be locked or put away in a place that is not easily accessible to children especially. Another reason for our decision is these crime rates greatly increase the cost to society. For example, injuries and hospital bills add up to over $100 billion each year. We could be using this money for other programs and prevent this amount from going up any further in the future.
The DC Code provides that a registration certificate shall not be issued for a sawed-off shotgun, machine gun, short-barreled rifle, or a pistol not validly registered. As per the Miller test and the above arguments, this court declares this law unconstitutional in that it restricts the individual right to bear arms, specifically arms in common use, which is guaranteed by the Second Amendment. Obviously, sawed-off shotguns, machine guns, and short-barreled rifles are not in common use as are pistols. Thus, the restriction on licenses for these firearms shall not be contested. Another DC statute says, firearms required to be unloaded and disassembled or locked. Except for law enforcement personnel, each registrant shall keep any firearm in his possession unloaded and disassembled or bound by a trigger lock or similar device unless such firearm is kept at his place of business or while being used for lawful recreational purposes within the District of Columbia. This court declares this statute unconstitutional as well, in that it infringes upon the right of the individual to keep and bear arms. The term "to keep and bear arms" guarantees the right to possess a functional weapon. A disassembled, unloaded, or locked weapon is not a functional weapon. The Second Amendment would prove useless if it were to guarantee the right of only a non-functioning weapon. This obviously could not have been the intent of the framers. A weapon is of no immediate defense when non-functional. Immediate defense may prove necessary under innumerable circumstances.
This is Jessica Guadalupe, again reporting from WBMW. The court just made its decision, and it looks like the Chief Justice is coming out.
One question at a time.
So, what decision have you reached?
Well, we're reaching a unanimous decision that handguns will be allowed in the United States.
How do you think that this decision will affect America?
It will end debate regarding the Second Amendment because finally it has been interpreted. More questions?
Like the rest of the justices are about to appear with their decisions. Justice, was it hard to reach a decision?
It pretty much was, because there were so little precedents. There's only one case that was pretty large, and that was a base it off of.
What was your particular view on this?
I thought that it should be a broad interpretation of it.
And Justice, how is that?
No more questions, guys. No more.
Sorry, no more questions. Okay, that's it for now. If anything changes, I will update you later. These are our breaking news for now. Back to you, Tom. Oh, no, wait, there are two more justices. Justice, I'm sorry, what was your opinion on this matter?
Going to take our decision because it's such a different public policy to finally interpret it as a broad and an individual right.
Sorry, ma'am, what's your name?
It looks like the rest of the justices are about to appear. What was my question?
What is your name, ma'am? Lily, thank you. Right under us. No, wait, not under us in the
I'm right.
How was the decision for you?
It was a pretty tough decision because according to
Access to them and might trigger or whatever.
Mr. Miller was shoot.